Welcome my friends, this is Maniacal Incorporated, and this is a blast from the past. 15 years after it was released, For the Glory has just gotten a new patch. I picked this up in 2012 and played about 20 minutes of it because it kept crashing, and that is the main issue that has been solved in the new patch. Fixed around 24 separate crashes, some of them dating as far back as EU2. In 2007, Paradox retired the Europa engine that had been used to make Europa Universalis 1 and 2, Hearts of Iron 1 and 2, and the OG Crusader Kings and the OG Victoria. In 2008, they set up a licensing agreement whereby studios or devs would be able to come along and make their own games using the Europa engine, and that's exactly what Crystal Empire Games did. A studio made up of a number of modders from the Paradox community, from the EU2 community, who had worked on the AGCEEP mod, Advanced Grand Campaign / Extended Events Project, if I am correct. And they came together under the umbrella of Crystal Empire Games, and they put out For the Glory in 2009. The game reviewed fairly well on its launch, even though it was marred by crashes, especially in the multiplayer. A patch was released the following year, and then the world of grand strategy pretty much moved on. But even as it did so, there was still a small, dedicated group of For the Glory players. If you look at Steam charts, I think it's been around 10 to 15 players per year for the last decade. And so on the 15th anniversary of the game's release on the 11th of November 2024, somebody got the band back together and recruited some new members and put out a brand new 1.3 patch for the game. I think it's the first in 14 years. And this would have totally passed me by if Mandead hadn't dropped me a message. Mandead is the dev behind the Tip Volume 2 mod, a fan favourite here on the channel, and he's been on board working as part of the group that got the 1.3 patch done for the Glory. And he also let me know that as the game has been out for over a year, by about 14 years, it's eligible for the Labour of Love Award on the Steam Awards at the moment. So if anybody wants to, if you haven't decided yet where your vote is going, For the Glory is a good option. So for the first time in 12 years, I loaded up For the Glory. I had to reinstall it. I had to make sure that I met the minimum requirements of having at least a Pentium 4 processor. And I actually got to mess around in the game for the first time, because I think it crashed on pretty much as soon as I hit play. It crashed. And as you can imagine, after 15 years, it's showing its age. But it's still really interesting to see the early days of some of our favourite franchises. There's a lot in this game that would continue. It wasn't exactly developed for this game. It came from the earlier EUs and would continue into the later EUs and continue into some other franchises. I know that the footage is all squished up on the screen because it's been hell. It's like that time that I made the Tropico video. It's been hell to actually try and get the resolution sorted out. And I know as soon as this patch went up that the devs were basically asked if they have any intention in sorting out the resolution and improving the resolution. But the reality is, as they said themselves, with an engine that is this old, that is probably not possible. I found some references on the Paradox forums to the agreement, to the licensing agreement for the Europa engine. Somebody was asking if the engine was still available to be licensed in 2016, and somebody from Paradox advised them it would be best to make your own engine at this stage, as opposed to trying to mess around with that monstrosity. So while we might see some more patches in future, I think it's unlikely that we'll see 3D leathers added to For the Glory. Now with the release of the new patch, the game has seen its highest concurrent player count in over 10 years of 21, and there are many players who are still actively playing the game even before the patch. People were asking over on the Steam page if their current save file would continue to work with the 1.3 patch, or if they would have to start a new game, which is what they will have to do. So it's great to see a game that was released 15 years ago that still has, like I said, a very small but active player base, 10 to 15 players a year. I think it's averaging about 6 players, 3 to 6 players per month. But it's great to see some of the older games getting attention, still being updated. There's a small but dedicated community still playing them, and it's great to see that somebody went out and basically try to sort out the major crashes and to bring some more utility to the game in terms of some new screens, like one for showing the population of regions, the fortress level of regions, a new screen for the Holy Roman Empire. So if, like myself, you picked up For the Glory in the past and maybe bounced off of it pretty quickly because you couldn't actually get it to run, it might be worth checking if you have greater than a Pentium 4 processor in your PC, re-download it and give it a go. And it's also on sale at the moment as part of the Steam Black Friday sale for €2.49. That'll be ending in a few days' time, but a few days after that we'll have the winter sale. Are you one of the loyal faithful that has been playing For the Glory for the last 15 years? Is it something you enjoyed back in the day that you left as newer versions of Europa Universalis came out? And is it something that you would think about going back to for a while to relive the glory days? Or as a player of some of the newer Paradox games or some new grand strategies, is it something that you'd think about looking into? Or does the outdated graphics, the mechanics and the resolution terrify you? Comment below with what you think about For the Glory, and a big congratulations to the dev team, to everybody involved, to Mandate and to everybody else who was involved in getting a patch out for a game that has seen no work for the last 14 years. The conditions that the Irish find themselves in the start dates, and there is a lot of them spread across both the unmodded version of the game and the AGCEEP mod version. The starting conditions of the Irish aren't great. The earliest starting date is the late 1300s, so we're beginning to see the English spreading into the country. I think in the earliest start date, Ulster is a vassal, Meath is controlled directly by England, and the other three, Desmond, Connacht and Leinster, are in an alliance with each other. And I did break that alliance once when Leinster and Connacht were wiped out by rebels. I broke that alliance and Ulster immediately attacked Leinster and Connacht, backed up by England, and England pretty much stole the regions away from me. So it's quite a difficult start for the small Irish powers, but I might see about spending some time with it and seeing if I can get a Munster colonial empire going. Thank you for joining me. Let me know if you give For the Glory a go, and I'll see you again next time.